What's up, guys? Thought I'd do a quick live. Well, it's probably not going to be quick, but I thought I'd do a live video via Facebook. We'll kind of hang out for a minute for see if anybody wants to join in. If nobody does, that's okay. I'll upload this one to the YouTube channel. But we're going to start doing some stuff, pushing some of the independent developer games that we at Coastal Con and Buford Tabletop Gaming have really been kind of focusing on. What's up, James? How you doing? Say hello if you're joining. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having a little twisted talk. So, hey, Nick, what's happening? So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm just going to kind of talk about the background and expand a little bit on some of the stuff that goes on in the game. And then as we progress, what I'll do is we'll do faction reviews. Might even throw some of the models up in the reviews. No, no, yes, you'll play, Nick, because I need you to print terrain for it. Washing resin. Look, there's plenty of resin. I got resin over here. Let me see if I can find a piece of resin. That's all metal, 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 metal. There we go. There's resin. Resin. There you go. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with these videos. This is going to be twisted talk. And hello, Jennifer. And I'm excited about doing this because Twisted is a game that definitely deserves some more attention. We demoed this just recently before Christmas at Discover Games. We will have it demoed at Coastal Con, and we will be demoing it at Siege of Augusta in Augusta, Georgia on the weekend of the 17th. So there'll be a lot of demos going on. So we got a few people here, so I'm just going to dive in. The book is really good. If I have one complaint, and only one complaint so far about the game, it's the binding on the book. Fallout, Wasteland, Warfare, getting ready for Siege of Augusta. Awesome, Nick. We've been playing a lot of Fallout, actually. We're in the middle of a campaign, so I'm excited about that. But now the binding hasn't come apart on me, but it feels like it's going to. Now, I don't know if it's just the binding on the book. Hey, Ron. Or not, because the book will lay flat nicely because of the way that the binding is on it, but it just feels like it's gonna come apart. I haven't had any issues yet, so I don't know if it's really a complaint so much as it is like a, oh my gosh, it feels like that's gonna happen. So I don't know. Anyway, let's dive right in. I'm gonna kind of go over the background here. So basically the game takes place in the late 19th century. Let me just read the intro to you. It's the late 19th century and the world is changed. This is an alternative reality, a world that may have been. Here, the rules have been broken and the things that should not be possible are now reality. The world is twisted. So I'll try to keep up with any comments on here, guys. You jump in. Just going to jump in the next paragraph. The world twisted is one of steam-powered machines driven by forces beyond our knowledge, a clockwork world where the mysteries of alchemancy and the forces of nature are used in mysterious ways. There is a force behind this world, one driven by its own goals and desires. It strives to create the ideal world it wishes, a world it sees as harmonious, equitable, and immaculate. But the world it wants is not the world of man. So you have the engine, and it is this force behind everything that happens in Twisted. And it is basically this mysterious entity. So there's not a whole lot known about it. It's referred to as the engine, the difference engine, the serenity engine, the engine of the gods. But generally in game terms, it's just the engine. So, and it is all of the dark, twisted machinations that are going on behind everything in this steampunk clockwork world. I think they might have avoided the word steampunk and went clockwork just to avoid the word steampunk. So the engine, nobody really knows what exactly the engine wants. So the majority of the world is oblivious to the desires of the engine. But what has happened within the context of the game is that all these scholars and historians and learned men have begun to find these clues to the secrets of the engine, this mysterious entity that's out there controlling things behind the scenes. So they begin looking and digging, and what they end up finding is nobody knows the central location of the engine. So what they end up finding is a node. and it's basically an extension of the engine. And every community or large grouping of people, hey, Robert, Raymond, what's going on? Every large city within the world has been the point where a node has existed. So basically what it is the engine will have a node in, say, for the purposes of Twisted, in London. And that is why London grew where it was, because it was through the actions of the engine that London became the big city that it is. So you have London. Now, if you can, well, I'll get into the next part in a minute. So you have London, and there's a node there, and it's been discovered. Now, all these different factions within the game, they want to do different things with the engine. Some want to just, some are genuine learned men. They just want to find out more about it. Others have more malicious intentions. They want to use the power of the engine for their own. But now the engine knows that pieces of humanity have started to find out about it. So it is working to stop that. And what it did was it created the servants of the engine. Whole nother faction that you can play. And these are the tools and the instruments that the engine will use to protect itself and protect its location, as well as the location of potentially any other nodes. Now, the cool thing about the engine is the game is twisted. So check this out. I'm going to read this part. Let me see if I can find it real quick. So the engine has drawn together a group of servants to stave off the attentions of the factions that seek it. These people, now this is one of the cool parts about Twisted, drawn from the past, present, and future, and even from alternative realities, are pawns in the engine's greater master plan. So, AJ, Jim, what's happening, guys? So what that means is that within the context of the game Twisted, Sebastian and Peter, the creators of the game, have opened up this world for us to explore within the context of Twisted, within the context of the story. So you can do kind of crazy stuff. Now, for me, I've been doing crazy stuff. I've created my own little scenarios and just whipping up my own stats for them, because we play narrative. We're not playing competitive, so we don't really care if it's a little bit imbalanced. We'll play it out and then figure out what balances things out. But we played a Santa Claus scenario, a twisted Santa Claus with twisted elves. We have played a Gulliver and the Lilliputians scenario, bedtime for kiddos procrastinating. so you're doing the same. Yes, a couple of mine just went to bed. 2 of mine are upstairs horsing around, sort of have them doing mind games on got this mind game thing for Christmas, and they're messing around with that. So at least they're exercising their brains a little bit. Also, we've got that's one of them right here. So a 3 Little Pigs scenario that is in process. We also have, I'm working on Rumpelstiltskin. You know, these are all these different alternative aspect realities that you can kind of pull in and create your own thing within the context of Twisted. So there's a lot of room, if you're a narrative player, to tell a story. One of the other things that we have been doing is we've been kind of expanding on the idea of the nodes, because in the fluff, in the book, now there's not a whole ton of developed fluff. There's still a lot of it that's coming out, backgrounds on certain characters and stuff. So as far as full-blown development of the world, there's lots of room. So in that vein, what we've done is we've taken the idea that, okay, I like to build terrain. I like to build tables. Well, I don't want to just play in London's East End where the first node was discovered. Although those make for some really cool tables, those get boring to me. So if the premise is that all of these great civilizations, these major cities spattered around the world, if there is a node somewhere there because of the work of the engine, then why not play in some of those other places? So we did a Mayan temple. I have a really gigantic, if you go check out, it might be in the Coastal Con group, the pictures, but you can go to the Twisted Facebook group, Twisted Minions of the Engine Facebook group, and you can check those out. I will drop links in the descriptions. But the we played in a big giant Mayan temple, and we have some other plans for other locations. It's China or Japan, or maybe the Russian tundra or stuff like that. So the opportunity to play in a multitude of different venues is there as well. So in a nutshell, the engine will do whatever it takes to defend itself. But as it creates more of these servants of the engine, so these servants, which is one of the factions, there's a little bit of strife in between them too, and this is taxing the power of the engine. You know, it's not omnipotent. It doesn't have unending power, and all of this fighting against these factions that are trying to seek it out are draining it, not to a permanent point, but sort of just exhausting it, if you will. And that's where you begin to play in and to manipulate not the mechanics of the game, but the story of your game to really create your own narrative. And a good narrative, hold on one second, I didn't even realize how washed out that was. Hopefully that'll help with the washout on that. Anyway, it really helps with the narrative. So if you're looking for a competitive game, I don't think Twisted is really it. It is set up to tell a story. A lot of the games that we have played lately where we've done these custom scenarios, a lot of those games have been semi-co-op, where two players have been working together against one centralized bad guy that I will create for the purposes of the scenario. So I'm still getting the opportunity to play, but sort of a three-person game with some co-op stuff going on. They still like to slap each other around a little bit just because the smack talk at the table begins and it must be resolved, you know. Cover of Twisted Rulebook, sure thing. There you go, Twisted, steampunk skirmish game. It's an awesome game. Hi, Victoria. That's my Rumble Slam runner right there. So that is, in a nutshell, Twisted, Minions of the Engine. It's a super fun game. It's a short video. What we're going to do next is probably going to do it on, I'm thinking I'm going to do it on Crowdcast, so we'll have some people up that we can talk to. So be on the lookout for when that one's going to come up. And what I'll do is we'll do a faction talk, and we'll talk about the faction itself. And if there's anybody that plays any of those factions, one of my buddies, Raul, plays one of the factions, my son plays one of the factions, or if you have questions about the factions, we'll kind of do that a little bit in there. Yeah, it's a hardback, so it's a nice book. It's definitely a nice book. Available at Discover Games for you folks close to Fayetteville, Georgia, or you can order it from Australia. But for us in the States, Georgia's a little bit closer. Which, incidentally, Discover Games is right now the only stateside store that carries Twisted. But we're hoping to change that too. So over the next 3 months, we're really going to be pushing Twisted hard. So you'll see a lot of videos. You can see faction videos. We're going to talk about some more mechanics. We have one video up on mechanics that talks about just the basic combat mechanics and movement. We'll go into how alchemancy works, which is the sorcery part of the game. Sort of a blend of, well, an alchemancer and a sorcerer within the steampunk kind of world. So we'll go over all that stuff. Should be a lot of fun. Should be pretty cool. Is the author from there? Yes, both of them are from Australia. And the other thing that I really like about the game, and Jim, I think you'll appreciate this because you've had a lot of interaction with Joe for Frostgrave, is that's how they are, which incidentally, Peter, one of the guys, is supposed to be doing a little write-up for Bexham's Bazaar. I talked to him about that. So hopefully we can get that soon. As a matter of fact, I actually have a scenario I can send to you. I just thought of that. I'll send you that scenario. But they're very, very, very involved in the community to the point of interacting constantly within the Facebook group, always responding to questions, queries, problems, anything. They are super, super on top of it. And for me personally, I remember way back in the day of Rogue Trader when that was how the hobby community in general was. You get that for a lot of the independent and smaller games nowadays, but really the guys at Demented have really gone, in my mind, they're over the top for taking care of their people. And that's going to win me to a game every single time. So check them out. Twisted, you can go to dementedgames.com. Like I said, we're going to be talking more about it, and more videos are going to be coming. I'll upload this. I'll download this, and then I'll upload it to the YouTube channel. Share it around. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, go over and check it out. Give the video a like and subscribe. And let's see if we can get Twisted out there and moving more. And Jim, I will see if I have that file handy, and I will shoot you an email just as soon as I close out this video. All right, and guys, that's all I have. These videos will be around the same length, so have a great last couple hours of the weekend and enjoy your Monday, and I will see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, for an episode of Paint on the Desk on Crowdcast. I'll post that link in the Coastal Con Facebook group. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Good night.